What's that sound? It's For Amusement Only, the EM and Bingo Pinball Podcast. Welcome back to For Amusement Only. This is Nick Baldridge. Tonight, the next game in chronological order is 1960's Bally, Barrel of Fun. But Barrel of Fun is actually the same game as Fun Spot, which I reviewed a couple of episodes ago. The only difference between this and Fun Spot is that there is a button on the front of the cabinet that allows you to play off your replays. But remember, there aren't actually replays on this game. This is one of the Ohio Dime games, and therefore there is a lit score indicated on the Backglass if you get 3, 4, or 5 in a row. And so that score ticks down with each button press. It's really just another name for a replay. There's just no visual indication that there are replays available. So, that said, the next in line would be Circus Queen. But we talked about that in episode 184. And so that brings us to 1961's Lite-A-Line. Now, Lite-A-Line, we've talked about briefly on episode 177, strictly 6 cards with Vic Camp. And Vic has told some of his stories about playing Lite-A-Line on location in New Jersey in some of our interviews. So, Lite-A-Line is a 6-card bingo. 6-card bingos will typically award you 1 bingo card per coin added. So if you step up to the machine and put in your first coin, it will bring the machine roaring to life, and the first card will light. With each additional coin, it will light the second and third cards, and then if I recall correctly, the 4th through 6th are lit at mystery intervals. That means the machine will randomly award them, and there is a special sequence of clicks and knocks that you'll hear if the machine doesn't award you the next card, to alert you, the player, that the next coin that you put in will actually award the card. It's pretty unique in that regard, at least from the bingos that I've played. And I haven't played very many 6 cards. I've played a handful now, but there are plenty more that I have not played. So, your goal in the bingo is to get 3, 4, or 5 numbers adjacent to each other on any one of the 6 bingo cards, if all of them are lit. Because the numbers are arranged in a different fashion on each of the cards, it's quite possible to have a winner on 1 or more cards with the same 5 balls played. Now, this game does not have extra balls. Many of the 6 cards do not, and therefore, it's a pretty fast game. There are fewer decision points on a 6 card than there are on, say, a Magic Screen game, where you have to make a decision, or perhaps a sequence of decisions, before shooting each ball. On a 6 card, you have to know the number arrangement. So you have to know where your sets are, and also where your biggest scoring potential is. And that can change with each shot, because each card will award you sequentially more replays. There's a fixed payout for 3, 4, or 5 in a row on each of the 6 cards, but each one has a different payout. There's no way to increase your odds, and there's no way to decrease them either. the odds are the odds. Your best winner is on the 6th card. And if you can get 5 in a row on card number 6, then you can win 960 replays. Now let's back up for a moment and talk a little bit about the typical winnings on any given bingo pinball machine. Prior to this, one of the highest payouts was 600. There have been a few outliers in earlier games, but 960 for a 5 in a row is pretty awesome. So this game has also the first example of a super line, and a super line in typical fashion would give you 3 would score as 4 scores as 5, but in this case the super line is not exactly a super line. It's just a yellow line on each of the bingo cards, and if you manage to get 3 in a row on that yellow line, then it would give you many more replays than a 3 in a line on the regular section of the bingo card. This is pretty interesting. It's like a double score or more than double score area. So for example, on the first card, your payout is 4 replays for 3 in a row, 20 for 4, and 100 for 5. In the yellow section of the same bingo card, if you get 3 in a row, you get 12 replays. 4 gives you 60, and 5 gives you 160. And they go all the way up to 32 for 3 in a row in the white on the 6th card, 128 for 4 in a row, and 960 for 5 in a row. And in the yellow line, you get 64, which is double the 3 in a row score, 256, again double the 4 in a row score, and the 5 in a row is still capped at 960. So very, very skilled bingo pinball players, such as Vic Camp, who has been on the podcast a number of times, their strategy is to get a 5 in a row on card number 6. And this is the reason. It's because it is so lucrative when compared with the other cards. If you get a 5 in a row on card number 1, which is still a very impressive feat, you only get 160 replays. And that's if you get it in the yellow line. You only get 100 if it's not. So it is very much to the player's advantage to try to get a 5 in a row on card number 6. This game also has a feature which Vic let us all know was typically cut by the operators, and that's the spotted number feature. As you shoot your first ball, as it leaves the ball gate, the game may spot a number on one of the cards. And it's the center number, so it's a very, very useful number to have spotted. The fact that it was cut by operators means that they thought it made the game too easy. Well, I'm here to tell you, I've played Vic's Lite-A-Line, and that is not an easy game. It's hard to win replays on it, at least for me. Now, again, I'm not a very skilled player, so that makes a big difference, but it is a tough game, and without that center spotted number, it's even tougher. Now, of course, that's a random element. It's not going to give it to you every time. You're not going to get center spotted on all the cards, certainly. It's only on one card, but it gives you something to shoot for. It gives you a goal, which is a bit more reachable than it would be otherwise. So, let's talk about artwork. This game has a great backglass. Backglass is a chorus line, and you've got 5 women, one of which is carrying the replay meter onto the stage. On the left-hand side, you have the card, which names the show, and that's the Lite-A-Line. And, of course, that's lit up similar to Showtime or bright lights with the stylized lamps. On the left and right side, you have women holding the first and third bingo cards on smaller stages. And then each of the bingo cards is actually a different color. The first card is red, second green, third orange, fourth blue, fifth brown, and sixth is a pink color. It is very attractive. Many different colors. The hats that these women are wearing are phenomenal. And this game has great curtains as well. So, the cabinet. The cab has a geometric shape pattern, which was common for flipper games at the time. I'd be curious to know what the rationale was for this at the time, and certainly if anybody has any information on that, I would love to know it. Typically, of course, the bingos have a much more complex stencil, which really complements the artwork in the rest of the theme. So this is kind of unusual. It is still very attractive. It's very clean. You have some rounded corners on some portions of rectangles, and then the bottom and the top of the cab are different colors. There's a stripe along the bottom. As far as the playfield, you have two women from the show that are kind of showing you the game, and they're on a stage with a big curtain at the top, which frames the entire playfield. There's spotlights shown on either woman, and their shadows extend underneath the numbered section. The numbers themselves are in these beautiful triangles that alternate. The ones with the numbers have a red triangle, and beside them there is a tan triangle, and it alternates back and forth all the way across the playfield and down. So what it ends up with is most of a triangle pointing down towards the ball return. The artwork changes at 23, 24, and 25. The numbers themselves are on a yellow field, and 23 and 25 are splayed outwards, leaving the tan impression between 19 and 20 and 21 and 22. The ball return down at the bottom is a pink semi-oval, and then a blue semi-oval on top of that. It's very beautiful just from the perspective of how it leads your eye down the playfield. If you have the chance or the opportunity to play a Lite-A-Line, I would highly suggest it. The 6 cards definitely make you a better bingo player, and Lite-A-Line is quite the challenge. Well, that's all for tonight. Thank you very much for joining me. My name again is Nick Baldridge. You can reach me at foramusementonlypodcast@gmail.com, or you can call us on the Bingos line. That's 724-BINGOS1, 724-246-4671. You can listen to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Pocket Cast, via RSS, on Facebook, on Twitter at Bingo Podcast. You can follow me on Instagram, also at Bingo Podcast, or you can listen to us on our website, which is foramusementonly.libsyn.com. To those who purchased the shirt, thank you very much. Your orders will be sent to the printer. You will receive them at some point in the nearish future. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll talk to you next time.